but kinda lastly in Netflix Geek, because this was also shown at Netflix Geek, but it also just straight up came out, and that is Twilight of the Gods, the animated series created by Zack Snyder.
Mm-hmm.
Sigrid, an iron-willed warrior, saves Leaf, a mortal king who falls in love with her. They both survive Thor's wrath of terror, which embarks them and a crew of crusaders on a merciless mission for vengeance against all odds. It's basically God of War if it originally started in Norse mythology and starred a woman.
Ooh.
It's really good. The series captured my attention because of its art style that reminded me of
Mm-hmm.
the 2003 Clone Wars and Samurai Jack, both by Genndy Tartakovsky. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but it kept my attention because their take on Norse myth is very interesting, and it's super fun. The art style is great.
Nice,
The
nice,
character
nice.
designs are great. Thor is a bad person. Uh, and there's this one scene where he's like like playing with his son and like trying to teach his son how to be strong, and it looks like they're gonna like humanize Thor for like 5 seconds, but like they're like pushing against each other, and he's trying to get his son to like push him back and like unlock his strength. But his brother Balder comes in and like tells him some news that he doesn't like, and he's distracted, and then his son pushes him a little bit, and then he backhands him, and I'm like, oh, never
Oh,
mind.
that's
This
terrible.
moment was not to try and humanize him; it was to show us that he is irredeemably a bad person. Though there are some other moments that make it seem like maybe there's deeper to why there's reasons why he's a bad person, but he's still a bad person. But yeah, it's real good, and there's way more nudity and sex in this than I expected there to be.
Hmm.
But I don't know. I feel like I shouldn't have expected nothing less from Zack Snyder. That
Fair.
like at several points they show full on dong, and at one point
Oh.
they show straight up, surprisingly, penetration. It's like silhouetted by like a big fire behind the characters, but I was like, wait, what's happening? This is just
Like, is
porn
this
on
allowed?
Netflix. This feels illegal. I feel like I shouldn't be watching this. Um, and there was a whole threesome. There's a lot of gay shit. There's some trans characters. It's great. It's a great show.
That's good.
This
It
is good.
sounds great. Insane, but
Yes, you
great.
should check it out. It's great. It's like within like the first 5 minutes,
Wow.
the main character and her husband immediately.
That's, you know what? Good for them.
What is it like?
Good for
At
them.
one point, like she makes a joke about him being hung like a horse, and then they show it. I'm like, oh, okay, he is.
Oh,
They just
well,
showed it. They was just like, well, we gotta prove it to you. And I was like, you didn't, but you did.
you really didn't have to.
You didn't
Like,
have to. I didn't need to know. I could just take her word for it.
could have gone my whole life without knowing that, actually. I
But
think stuff like that really makes me think about, like, animators, because it's like someone had to draw that.
yeah, I mean, you're a person who's on Twitter. I'm sure you've been to the
Yeah, fair.
to that side of Twitter, and
Yeah, yeah.
a lot of those animators end up like getting actual jobs working on like big shows
Makes sense.
because of the stuff that they made on Twitter. So you know,
Yeah.
but this show uh made me hope that the upcoming God of War live action show has a prequel that's animated, because the show,
Mm,
which is going to be on Amazon, I believe, is supposedly going to start from the 2018 games, where after the events of the first 6 games, which
mhm.
is that's a good starting point for new people who are new to the franchise. Though
Sure.
I prefer if they start from the beginning, but because they're not, I feel like this gives them the opportunity to have fun with how they tell or like retell the events of the first 6 games, and I feel like they
Mhm.
could do that through animation, like The Witcher is doing, kind of, where they have the live action component, but then they have live action prequels, which is really fun.
Right.
Because what is it? I forget what the first animated movie was called, but it's that animated Witcher movie. It's better than the entirety of the Witcher show, even though I like the Witcher show. Like that animated movie is so good, but it is a prequel
For
that takes
real?
place like over 100 years before the games or something like that. And it's real
Mm.
good. And I feel like they could do something similar with God of War. And honestly, I think this art style would also fit a God of War live action, or not live action, but animated show.
Mm.
And
Mhm.
yeah, I'm like, bring back the original cast, bring back TC Carson, the goat, the original Kratos,
For
to
sure, for sure.
voice Kratos in this, and like, yeah, an animated adaptation of those first 6 games would be really good.
Mhm.
But